Is that better? Can you hear me? Okay. Now can you guys hear me before I go any further? Can you guys hear me? Hey, Tracy, can you guys hear me now? Yes. Okay. Sorry about that. I forgot to put my mic on. Okay, let me start over. Starting over. All right. I am Kathy from Kathy Creates, where I try to inspire you to create. And tonight, one of my followers, Barbara Cregan, had said on my post with all the ribbons when I showed you guys all and said, wow, I've got a problem. She said she was going to get rid of all of her ribbon because she's given up on bows. And I said, no, don't do that. I said, I will do a live on how to make my bow. All right. I don't think I invented this bow, but it's kind of become my signature bow. It's the one I do all the time because, to be real honest, I'm not that great at bows either. This bow is easy for me. I've mastered it. I can teach it. So I thought we would just do that. Hello, Linda. Hello, Devana. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so to get started, first thing we are going to do is we're going to take our ribbon. Now, I like to use this burlap ribbon. It's got a really good, I'm not sure what the word is, body maybe to it. It's all wired. I like to use the wired ribbon, but it's also, even if you cut the wires off of this ribbon, it kind of holds its shape because it's stiff. I guess that's a better way to put it. It's very stiff. So I love to start with this ribbon. This ribbon is almost always the base of my bows. Okay. It's $9.99 for 30 feet. Okay. So 10 yards. And I never buy it full price. I always wait for it to go on sale. Lately, it's only been 40%. Sometimes it's 50%, but I will stock up when it's on sale. I never pay full price for it. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to cut. All I do is I kind of fold it in the size that I want my bow to be, and I cut it. Okay. I'm just cutting that. We're going to do that on all three of these ribbons. Now, I am choosing to do a three ribbon bow. Actually, we're going to use the buffalo thread next. All right. And I'm just kind of roughly guessing about my sizes, cutting it, and then we'll go from there. Hello, everyone. Mom is doing comments for me tonight. This is going to be short. It's not going to be a long one. We're just doing bows. A bow. Okay, but I'm going to go step by step. All right, so I have my three ribbons cut. Now, I like to dovetail. Some people like to just do the angled cut. I like all of mine to be dovetailed. So I will dovetail all these. And I'll show you how we do that here in one moment. Okay. So to dovetail, you're going to take your ribbon. You're going to fold it in half. Okay, so we have the folded part down here. We're going to work on the ends. So then you're going to fold it in half again lengthwise, like so. And then I flip it up. I find it's easier to cut it this way. So my fold is out here on this side, okay? The sides of the ribbon are over here. So we're going to take our scissors and we're going to go from the bottom edge out here on the bottom outside edges. And we're going to go up to the middle as much as you want. It doesn't need to be too much, okay? Make a triangle cut. When you open it up, you got your dovetail. Okay, so we're going to do that on all three. Mom says hello to everybody. There you go. Thank you, Dorothy. All right, so again, we're folding in half this way. We're going to flip it upside down. Cut from the bottom edge to the center fold. Okay, just like that. I'm going to do that on all three of them. All right, folding it in half, flipping it up, and then we're going to cut to the center. Okay, so we have our dovetails done. All of our dovetails are done, so we're done with that. We're going to take a piece of twine. Okay, and set that aside a second. Now, I am going to take some raffia, because you know me and my raffia, I got to have my raffia on my bow. All right, so this one's a little thick, so I am going to separate it. So I just stick my thumbnail through it or a nail through it and pull it apart. Okay, and then we'll get all these separate little pieces, and that's exactly what I want. Then I'm going to just match up my ends. Now these other pieces are thinner, so I think we're okay on those. We're going to match up our ends. All right, so we have all of our raffia kind of matched up. So I'm taking this end that I matched up all my ends, and we don't care that this end's not matched up. That's fine. Oops, and we have our first happy mail, and that is Tracy. I do have my timer set, folks. So make sure you are commenting for a chance at happy mail. Okay. All right. So now I'm just going to make a loop. All right. Just made a simple loop. We still have all this craziness coming down here. All right. I'm going to switch the hands, and I'm just going to go back and forth. Just make another loop and another loop. Just back and forth, making loops. Just pinching it between my fingers till we've used up all of this raffia. If you have a few ends like this sticking out, no worries. We'll cut that off in the end. Okay. So I have my little bundle here. Okay. Now, I think it's easier if you give it a little twist. Hi, Judy. Welcome, welcome. All right, and now I'm just going to tie my twine that I cut off. We're going to tie that around the center of our little bundle. All busy making bows. That's right. One of my followers was going to get rid of all of her ribbon. Can you believe that? No, I can't let that happen. You know me and my ribbon. Okay, so see how we have some stragglers out here that are longer? We're going to go ahead and cut those out. Just kind of even it up. We don't have these crazies sticking out. Okay, so we just have our little raffia bow. All right, we're going to set that aside. Okay, here's where the magic comes. You're going to take your ribbon. All right, this is probably, I don't know, 18 inches or so. Let's measure. This is, there's a foot and another 9 inches. So it's 21 inches. Okay, you can make this as big or small as you want. If you want bigger tails on your bow, I keep them kind of small because usually I have something underneath my sign. And you can't see that. Okay, something underneath my sign under the bow. Let me pull this out because I make these bows for my signs. Okay, so I usually keep my tails kind of short because, as you can see, you know, I have things underneath. So I don't want to cover those up. So I keep my tails short. Now, depending on what you're putting it on. Hey, Linda, welcome from Pennsylvania. Depending on what you're going to put this on, you may want a longer tail, and that's fine. Okay, but for me, I like to keep them kind of short because I've always liked to put something under it. Okay, so you're going to take your ribbon. You're going to take, this is the outside or the inside of the ribbon. This is the back side of the ribbon, okay? It's really a two-sided ribbon, but you can see the wire on this side, so that's going to be the inside, all right? So what I do is I fold it in to basically thirds, and I kind of cheat my ends down, okay? So it's going to look like this, all right? I'll kind of turn it in all directions for you so you can kind of see what it's going to look like. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't matter, all right? You're going to just smash that down onto your table. Okay, now you're going to take your next one. And now I like to go a little bit smaller than the one below. When you get done, I have a question. Okay. All right, Devonna, I'll come back to you, okay? All right, so we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to cheat our ends down, like so. And I'm going to lay it down, and I want to make sure that my bow is just a little bit smaller, because what's going to happen is when you tie this, you're going to be able to see all the different ribbons if you make them a little bit smaller. Okay, see how this comes in just a smidge smaller. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing on this one. Okay, we're going to do the thirds, cheat our ends down, and we're going to lay it down. It needs to come in just a little so we can see those other ribbons. There we go. Now, if my ends are too long, I can always go back and cut them when we're done. I'm not worried about the ends right now. I'm worried about the bow. So if you can see, I've got this little bow sandwich here, and each ribbon is just a little bit smaller. Okay, you got that one, and now the burlap. Okay, both sides, it's all the way like that. All right, we're going to lay this down just like that. We're going to take our little raffia bundle that we just tied. We're going to lay that down right smack dab in the middle. Okay, we're going to flip the whole thing over, and we're going to start to tie it. Okay, now if I just pulled it tight right here, it's going to go whoop, and it's all going to be all wonky. It's not going to lay right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our fingers and we're going to gather this like so. See if I can pick this up and show you. Okay, see how it's gathered? It's not just smushed together. I pinched it together so it's gathered. So on the front it's gathered and on the back it's gathered. Okay, and we have a timer going off, and that is Devana, and I'll write it down as soon as I tie this. Okay, and you're going to pull it, and you're going to make sure that your raffia is still in the center of your bow. Let me write down Devana. I don't always use wired ribbon. It is definitely easier. I mostly do because most of the ribbons that I buy are wired. Devana Henderson. You have the next entry for Happy Mail. Okay, so since I checked and my raffia is in the center, I'm going to go ahead and give this a double tie. All right, so you could be done right here. You wouldn't have to put florals on. You could be done. Now I would trim this one up because my red, white, and blue one is a little too long. It's longer than the rest of them. So I'm going to trim that up just a little. It's a little trickier to trim it once it's tied, but it's doable. I'm just going to fold it in half and kind of follow those cut lines. Okay. All right. Then I kind of like to fluff up my raffia a little so it's not all so smushed together. And then you can go through and, fluff out your bow, fluff out each of your little ribbons, because we smushed them, remember? And yes, that's the technical term. We smushed. Okay. Now, if you don't use wired ribbon, it's just a little harder to tie. So usually what I end up doing is I will, lay my scissors on it to hold it down while I'm folding the next bow or the next ribbon. Okay. So that you could leave it just like this. Okay. And you can see all of the ribbon. You can see the buffalo check underneath there. You got the red, white, and blue. You can see it all. Okay. And see how easy that was? That's super easy to tie. All right. I like to add florals to mine. I almost always add a floral to it. Now, I get these. I don't think I have one out handy here. But they come in a bush. They're like, I think $7.99. But again, do not buy them full price. They always go on sale. All right. And what I do is I just cut off a couple little pieces. You don't need much. All right. We're going to cut that off. We're going to cut off a piece of wire. I don't know, maybe 6 inches or so. Doesn't need to be real long. Okay, so I'm going to take my 2 pieces and I'm just going to overlap them, just like that. All right, we're going to take our wire and we're going to just take our wire and twist it around those 2 pieces. Okay, so as you can see, you're going to have this little wired bundle. No worries about this because that's going to be underneath the bow. You're not going to see it. Oh, thank you, Devon. I appreciate that. I've taught this bow a lot because I've taught it at all of my make and takes. Okay, so we have this cute little floral bundle. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our bow, we're going to flip it over, and we're going to use that same twine. Notice I did not cut that twine off. We're going to take this, we're going to lay it straight across the back. And then we're just going to tie it with that twine. We're going to double tie it in a knot. Just try to get it centered. And that's it. We're done. Okay, cut off our excess twine. And there is our cute little bow. Okay, you can fluff these out. You can add a lot more floral if you like. I don't usually add much more than this because I don't want, usually I'm putting it on one of our signs. So let me show you. This bow has been bedraggled. Let me fix her up a little. It's a little crazy here. So when I put these on our signs, okay, I don't really want the bow to be the center of attention. It's supposed to just give it that extra little pop. So I don't want a big old huge bow with big old huge floral. I want this to be the center of attention. Okay, so depending on your project, what is the width of the burlap? The burlap is 2.5 inches. My other ones are 1.5 inches. I've done them with a couple of the 2.5 inch width. I've done them with, hi Pat, and Pat Hill just won the next entry to Happy Mail. I've done them with several different ones. Matter of fact, I can do one real quick. We've got plenty of time here. Let me find another. I've got all this ribbon over here. Let's see. There's a red and white one. Let's do that. One moment. Yeah, and I'll do it with this because this one I don't think is wired. Oh, it is wired. Okay, that's all right. Okay, so we're going to do another one real quick. And I'm going to show you how we can do them even with, wider ribbon, even with just 2. This one just had 2. Okay, just had the buffalo check and the burlap. Thank you, Gloria. Thank you, Lois. Okay, so, it's whatever combination you want to use. All right, so we're just going to do this again. Now, this is a problem that Hobby Lobby likes to do. See how they seam that? It's just stuck together, so that's kind of a waste. That makes me angry when they do that. I found that more than once on these. All right, let's see. So we're going to cut this one just like that, like we did the other one. Watch me play or not. Okay, so now this one is another 2.5 inch one. Okay, it really doesn't make any difference. It's just how you layer them. I wouldn't go, with a thinner ribbon underneath and then the thicker one on top because you're never going to see the thin one. So I wouldn't do that. But as long as you do, thicknesses, they can be the same or they can be different. But and then I've got this little jean one. So we're going to use this one too. I didn't think this one was wired. I don't know that I have many that aren't wired because I usually tend to go with the wired. Okay, so we're going to do our... Hi, Gloria. Thank you so much for sprinkling. I appreciate that. Okay, so again, to dovetail, you're going to fold in half. You're going to fold in half lengthwise, flip it up, go from the bottom outside up to the center. Get your dovetail. And do that on all 3. Okay. Fold in half. Fold in half lengthwise. Okay. So we have all 3 of our ribbons cut. When I first started buying ribbon, you didn't buy wired. Yeah, I didn't either until I figured this out. And I was just buying the little thin ones, like the little, not even sure what are they, 1/2 inch maybe. They're not very big. And then I discovered these bows and I'm like, ooh, I like that. So I need to do that. All right, so we're gonna do our twine again. Here's a piece of twine. We're gonna grab a few pieces of raffia here. And you don't have to do the raffia. If you didn't want to do the raffia, you would just use the twine. Matter of fact, let's do that. I showed you how to do one with the raffia. Let me show you how to do one without. We'll do that. I always do the raffia because I like the raffia, but I know not everybody does. Okay. So again, we're going to fold in thirds. Okay. Just like that. We're going to lay it down on our table and kind of smush it down. Except I didn't get that very even. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to take this one because it's the same width and I don't want to do this little blue one because it's going to disappear. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to fold this in thirds. And we're going to lay it on our table. Smoosh her down. Okay. And then we're going to do the blue one. Same way. I'm going to fold it in thirds. Lay it down. Okay. So now, since I'm not using raffia, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my twine. I'm going to lay it across the front. Flip it over. We're still going to do that whole pinch and gather thing just like we would. Okay. So we're not going to start pulling it here because I'm going to just do this and I'll show you what it does. See how it gets that weird twist? That's not a very pretty bow. See how that looks weird? That's why we pinch and gather. So I'm going to open that back up. Okay. And then I'm going to just kind of pinch it all in and gather it. Okay. So that's what it's going to look like. It's going to look all pinched and gathered. All right. And then we're going to pull it tight. Make sure our ribbons are in place. The length of the ribbon I did was 21 inches for the back one, and then each one was just a teeny bit shorter. Exactly, Linda. That gather is the biggest part of this where people get messed up. And your bow looks a little wonky, as I showed you. Okay? So I went ahead and tied that. I don't remember if I double tied it, so we're going to tie it again. All right. You learned from me. Thank you. I'm so happy to hear that. Okay? So here is our little bow, and actually our tails are just about the right length for me. Here is our little bow without raffia. Okay, isn't that a sweet little bow? All right, so again, we'll do our floral again. We're just going to take about a 6-inch piece. We're going to overlap. And we're just going to twist this wire around. Yes, it does take a minute. There you go. Yes. Now, I promise, if you practice, you can do this. I promise you. As a matter of fact, one of my followers, I think it was Sarah Penn, she said she just kept going back and rewatching and rewatching and rewatching. You know, pausing it, trying it, pausing it, trying it, and she got it. She's figured out how to do it. All right, so we twisted those together. So we have our little bundle of floral. We're going to lay it across. Okay. And we're just going to tie that down into the middle, trying to get it centered. I did not get it centered, so now I got to adjust it a little. There we go. That's better. Okay. And then we just cut off our excess twine. And again, we're done. Okay. So again, if you want more floral, if you want it longer to stick out further, by all means, you know, you can do that, but that's all you got to do. Super, super simple, easy little bows that I think really pack a punch. So based on your bow, depends on how wide your greens have to be. Yes. Yes. And I've got this pretty much down to a science. So I cut these already. Because when I do these for my business, I do them in mass quantities. I'll make like 100 bows and then start stapling them onto signs. So that's the other thing that I do. So instead of, if you're going to staple this on, especially any wood surface, I highly recommend stapling. Okay. And all I do is I go in this back loop of the burlap right back here. I lay it down on my sign. I go in that back loop and I staple it. And by doing that, you know, like my door, I have a glass like storm door in front of my main door. And I hang my signs on the main door. Okay. So they're sandwiched between the glass door and the main door. Well, that gets really hot. Even in the wintertime when the sun's beating on it, it gets really hot between those two doors. And then in the summertime, it's stifling. So if you use hot glue, it's going to slide right off. Your bow, you're going to lose your bow. Your bow is going to come off because that glue is going to melt and it's going to slide right off. Staple them. This little staple gun I got at Home Depot. I've used it. I've probably stapled thousands of bows with this thing, and it is great. It's just a little arrow. It's called a True Tack, I think. Yeah, True Tack. And I use the, I think 3/8 staples. I've got a box right here. Yeah, 3/8 staples. And now I use that for my 1/4" rounds. And with them going through the bow, and usually I try to grab a piece of the floral when I'm doing it as well. So it's more than enough. It works just perfect. Super easy. They stay on, no problem. Yes, this is super lightweight. Okay. I mean, it's very light. It's not a problem, and it works super well. Like I said, this was from Home Depot. I bought it, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. Now, I will admit, and this is just kind of a, not sure I should admit this because it's kind of stupid. When I first started using it, I was using it on the wrong end, or trying to, I should say. It obviously wasn't successful. Because to me, it looked like you would go like this, and that the staples would come out this end. No, they come out this end. And so I'm sitting here and I'm stapling, and staples are shooting out the back. I'm like, what is happening? Why are they not working? Well, operator error. I was using it backwards. So yeah. Got yours on Amazon and it was cheaper. Oh, good. Good to know. Good to know. Okay. So that is the bows. That is how we make my bows. Okay. Now, here's something. I linked my website to this video. Okay. There's a link to it. What I'm asking, you give me your email address. Okay. There's a sign up in there to sign up for my email. I really don't send very many emails. Like, I don't think I've sent one. Let's put it that way. Okay. I will though, as we do more things. But you give me your email address, and by the end of the month, I'm going to get together a PDF file on how to do these bows with pictures, written directions, and I will send that to you. Okay. So you can have it printed out. You can look at it, pull it up on your computer, look at it, whatever. Maybe you learn better by reading and seeing the pictures versus, watching me live do it. So I'm going to do that. So that will be coming out to you if you, sign up for the email. So I will be happy to do that. Okay. So I will be live tomorrow with my Craft Around the Clock segment at 7 p.m. I hope you guys would join me. Also, I wanted to make sure to remind you, get into this craft challenge, guys. I'm telling you, you need to do this. The winner, I only have 2 entries, so you've got a really good shot of winning. And I know Tracy's probably saying, stop, because Tracy's one of them that sent in her photo. I'm going to put these out on Saturday morning for a vote. Y'all are going to vote. It's going to be anonymous. You're not going to know whose is which, okay? So don't be bashful. Send in your photo. My craft challenge, you need to use 3 of the 5 items. And the items are a raffia, scrapbook paper, buttons, twine, and a coffee filter. You can use any 3 of the 5 and anything else you want to use. You're not limited to just those 3 or 5 items. You can use anything else, but you have to use at least 3 of those 5 items. The winner wins one of our craft boxes. My brand new subscription craft box that I'm just launching, that will be mailed out the beginning of June. You will win the very first craft box. Okay? So you definitely want to get into this. Well, thank you, We Be Talking. I'm not sure what your name is, so thank you. But anyways, you're welcome, Karen. So welcome. Yes, like Tracy said, get creative, get them in. Even if it's a past project, that's fine. As long as you've used those items. If you haven't done one recently, that's fine. Send it in. I've got somebody that sent me an Easter one. Perfectly fine. Okay? Don't care as long as it's got those 3 items, which, I mean, a lot of us have done crafts with scrapbook paper, twine, raffia, buttons. I can think of a lot of mine that have had those. So send those pictures in. You definitely want to get in on this. Okay? Yes. And where did you get the saying for the welcome? That's one of my kits. That's on my website. We have a laser. We cut wood. We do signs. And that's what our craft kit is. So That is also open, and I only have 20 entries open. We've already sold a few. So make sure you get those in, because when the 20 are sold, that's it. We're cutting it off. Okay. All of those kits will be things from our shop and other things. There could be fabric in them. There could be scrapbook paper. There could be all kinds of things. There always will be some sort of wood product in there. Okay. From our shop. So, all right. I think that's all I've got for you, but make sure you get those entries in. The deadline is Friday. My email address, thank you, Tracy, is Kathy, Kathy .Herrick, HERRICK at kathycreates.com. Okay. And if you, I think I've got it tagged in the top of my page. I think the challenge is there as well. So you can find the email address there. IM it to me, however you want to get it to me is fine. If you don't have email or don't want to email it, you can always send it via messenger or something. That's fine too. Okay. Devana, what is your question? Thank you, Tracy and Mom, for keeping me on track. Devana, what is your question? She said she had a question. Uh-oh, is Devana still here? Repeat my website. Website is www.kathycreates.com. It's tagged in the top of this post. That was it about the sign. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, actually, all of these that are back here, these are all on our website. Plus a whole bunch more. So anything you guys are interested in, that is absolutely fine. All right, so get those entries in. I'm excited to see them. I'm excited to give you guys a free box. So you're, like I said, there's only been 2 entries, so your chances are really good. So get those entries in. Get them in, get them in, get them in. Friday is the deadline. I need them on Friday at the latest, okay? All right, guys, I will see you tomorrow night. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.